feel like saying good evening, viewers. Hi, Phil. This is hi, viewers. We're talking to Phil Duval tonight, this evening, and because it is evening, even though it's bright outside because of daylight savings, and Phil can tell us a bit more about what he's doing and where he's come from. Hi, Phil. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good.
I'd just like to say I didn't know it was daylight savings until yesterday morning when I woke up. So no idea. So, yeah, maybe a little out of touch. Where would you like me to start?
Well, just about where you started and where you've come from and what you're doing now, basically.
Okay, where I've started. So I guess I've come from a long career in aviation, funnily enough. So I started off as a apprentice aircraft engineer at Asta Aircraft Services and have been through a few iterations of aviation, moved up into quality and compliance, into audit, specialised in composites for a while, and ended up, coming into last year, the year before, the quality manager for the maintenance organisation arm of Jetstar Engineering. High pressure, high power sort of job. It was pretty full on. But the thing was, I knew ever since I started my apprenticeship at high school that this isn't what I wanted to be doing for a living. And I thought, I'll know it when I see it. I've been very much, in touch with energy ever since I was a little kid, for as old as I can remember. And so I was always trying to find that way towards an energy type medicine. But by the time I sort of left high school, it was like, I couldn't see the way to make a living out of it. So did the aviation thing. Learned a lot in that space. Aviation's, it's complex. I've seen what's behind the door of the upper end of management and the corporate sort of environment. So it has given me a really unique perspective on life. But some years ago, my brother actually, he came across a guy doing kinesiology, which is very close to where I live. And he said, "Mate, have you heard of this guy?" And I went, "No." He goes, "Not my cup of tea," because my brother's a science-based sort of bloke. He goes, "But it's right up your alley." And he said, there's amazing results with his kids. So I ventured on up there to see this guy, and straight away was just like, yeah, this is what I've been looking for the last 30 years. Started doing my research and into signing up for a school, and then started training as soon as I could. And then, sorry.
Yeah. So tell us the name of your. I forgot to ask. I know what the name of your business is, but tell the audience what the name of your business is.
So my business is called DNA Kinesiology, and I'm located in Mountain just on the outskirts of Geelong.
It's quite a big contrast from aviation, though, isn't it? A big jump.
Oh, and look, from the outside, yeah, absolutely. From the inside, I was been dying for this for my whole life. It was that sort of thing. I knew I was going to end up in the healing modalities at some stage. But for those of you who knew me from the engineering point of view, they was like, "What are you doing? Where did this come from?" I'm like, "Mate, it's just been sitting there, just waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the time."
Okay.
So about mid last year is when I finally went, "Okay, I'm done. I'm pulling the pin on aviation. I'm getting out and getting into what I want to be doing for the rest of my life." So,
cool.
So I kicked off the business.
Tell us for us novices what kinesiology is in a nutshell.
Yeah.
In layman's terms.
I'll do my best. So kinesiology, it uses muscle testing, and muscle testing is something that's developed by the chiropractic field many years ago, like back in the 50s. And it blends that with traditional Chinese medicine principles. So meridians and the relationship between meridian, organ, muscle, chakras and everything. And it uses the muscle testing to identify energetic imbalances in the body, and then uses a bunch of different techniques like acupressure points or emotional points, neuro-linguistic points. There's a whole raft of sort of methods that use them to correct the imbalance to allow energy to flow again. Because I guess there's a few underlying principles. One is pain is a sign of over energy or an energy buildup or blockage. So if we release that blockage, the energy flows again. Immediately you get a reduction in pain and usually an increase in movement too. I've had some quite sort of profound sessions of late where guys have come in, really stiff, really sore, and just by addressing a couple of points that don't even relate physically to the area. So it might be lower back pain and I'm massaging a point on their calves, but it releases the energy and it lets it flow again and brings the body back to a point where it can start healing itself. They get up off the table, pain's gone down to zero, range of movements increased by, sometimes 100%. It's fascinating stuff.
Kinesiology in itself is quite unique with regards to the gamut of industries that are out there. But one of the questions here I've got is, what is unique about what you do? So you've already explained some of that, but what do you think makes you stand out from others that are doing it apart from yourself?
I think I really like to build a really strong relationship with my clients. So I think first and foremost is really getting to know the person and connecting on that sort of deep personal level, because a lot of what we deal with in kinesiology gets down to the emotional level of stuff. So if we think about when we look at pain or discomfort or suffering, there's an emotional component to that. And the kinesiology that I do drills down into that stored emotion. And when you're in that space, the clients that you're dealing with, they've got to be comfortable that you're going to hold a safe space for them to be in whilst you get into that area, because it can be fairly, it can be confronting, or it can be, sort of fairly deep personal stuff a lot of the time. So I think, being able to hold that almost sacred space for people while they go on this healing journey is a good thing.
Great. What's your connection with Geelong?
Well, I'm born and bred on the Surf Coast, actually. I grew up at Bells Beach. And I've always been in the area. I went to school at Grovedale Tech High back when it was a Tech High, and then became a secondary college. And then, worked on my first job was out at Ascot Aircraft Services out at Avalon. So always been in and around and through the region. So I've spent my whole life around the area, that's for sure.
Cool. Okay, tell me about a great client experience. Without going into detail, tell me about a great client experience you've had and what you learnt from it.
Because every experience I have, it's a different pathway every time. So no two clients are the same. I had a client that came in, he was getting crippling panic attacks. He couldn't go out in public, he couldn't go to work, and he was struggling. And after about 3 sessions, for the first session, he was like, wow, I feel better, and then he was able to sort of start to function how he used to be able to, so to speak. After the second session, it was the next step up. And the third session, he's like, mate, I'm sorted. Like, I don't think I have to come back. And I'm like, wow, it just, sometimes I find, I'm not doubting the modality, but you just have to see it in action to see the outcomes. Because it still blows my mind that I can massage an area or do a technique or something and have such a profound effect on someone's life. But I guess the lesson from that is there is a protocol we follow, and sometimes it feels like it's not making sense, but we follow the protocol and we always get to the result that we're trying to get to.
Fantastic. What are your future plans for your business? Where do you see yourself going?
I see myself going around the traps a bit, and I think, maybe 5-8 years down the track, I'll be doing, residency type setups. Whether it be, I'd like to be doing that in Mexico and London and around the world. But at the moment, I'm also starting to engage with some of the more, I guess, needy communities around us and offering the services there, just to get it out to people who literally can't afford to, pay for my services as they normally are. So, I see this a couple of sides to what I do, which would be getting out to a broader community, but then also finding those people who need seeing the benefit we can do in that space.
Yeah, and you also will find that with the small businesses that we run, things can change pretty quickly, and you have to adapt pretty quickly as well. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I think that's common to all small businesses, really.
Yeah.
What advice or tips can you give to new and up and coming small business owners?
The thing that's front of mind for me at the moment is get your website sorted. I jumped into it thinking, I just need a web page, and got on Wix and literally smashed something together. It was very brief, and I had a couple of people looking and go, oh, well, that's amazing. And then other people go, yeah, it looks professional. And I'm like, right, okay. Then I went to some of the Geelong Small Business Festival events that they had around online and digital presence and online marketing, social media, SEO, and I was like, oh my God, I've so undercooked this. And I've actually last week had a mentoring session with one of the guys from the Melbourne Innovation Centre, which is part of the sort of knock on from the Small Business Festival. And yeah, so he went through my website. He's like, mate, this. Like, it just really highlighted the good and the bad, and the way it was all structured. And he goes, people are going to be seeing it like this, and this is what you need to be putting up front first, and all that sort of stuff. So taking the time, I think, to get your, I guess, outward appearance, and by that I mean your website is typically your first port of call for probably the majority of your clients. So if the first thing they see is subpar, it's going to affect the sort of the follow through as to in the engagement. So yeah, absolutely, I think investing in the in that appearance, that online appearance, and upfront relative.
I like the word investing because of the fact that being in branding themselves, people often see it as a cost. But if it's for your business and you expect some sort of return from your business, it's always an investment, because you're always going to get more from it. If it's working properly, you're always going to get more from it than what you spend on it. So there's a return there. Yeah. So sometimes DIY isn't always, it might be cheaper, but it might not always be the best answer you can come up with regards to business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm learning that.
Okay, so that's been a really good chat with you, just a brief chat, and I've appreciated learning a little bit more, and I'm sure other people have too, about your business and what you do, and we know we'll see you around the traps, Phil. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, no worries.
And tell us a little bit about how people can contact you. You mentioned website.
Yeah, through the website. You can contact me by phone, 0493 237 136.
This has gone live, but the video will be on GSBN, so you can actually put your own details in there if you like.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, it's in the comments section.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's DNA Kinesiology, and it's out at. Did you say Mount Dunedin?
Yeah, Mount Dunedin.
Is that the one on the near the big roundabout there?
No, that's the other guy I was talking about. So
okay,
it's controversial.
I passed him the other day, and I thought, oh, is that Phil?
Yeah, he's the reason
Good on you, Phil. Okay. So we'll wrap this up and we'll say goodbye. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
No worries. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate your time, mate. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.